Gam Ganapataye Namaha. In our life, we should live honestly, because honesty is called the best policy in one's life. Without honesty, the life is mere waste, because truthfulness is always victorious to all the types of hurdles. Therefore, the saying from Mandukya Upanishad, Satyameva Jayate. Satyam Jayati na Anrutam. Or mean, truth alone wins, not falsehood. Whatever the way, our ancestors lived with honest in their lifetime. They maintained honesty till their last breath, like Harishchandra, who maintained truthfulness, Gandhi, Mahatma, who also maintained truthfulness, non-violence, etc., honesty activities. This type of honesty alone wins. Otherwise, life is futile. We'll be always exalted, which is true. We should not encourage the untruth or dishonesty activities. When we follow honesty, there will be a lot of benefits we can gain to get fruits or fruitful life, colorful life. This should be adapted to the children from the beginning of their education system. Previously, in ancient times, it was a curriculum to teach honesty is the best policy, like these are stories, to impart the greatness of these to the upcoming children in their lives. But because of rapid changes in human life and behavior, it disappears gradually. But whatever the age, whatever the stage, one should not leave the honesty. Honesty is the best policy to exalt one's position into higher level. Temporarily there may be hurdles when we follow honesty, but at last truth alone wins, not falsehood. This and all taught us in ancient times. The curriculum was also based on these principles to make the citizens of the nation into truthful life. Leading truthful life is not an ordinary task. It is a big task. One cannot violate the dharma. Dharma alone wins, not adharma at any time. The adharma may get success temporarily, but at last dharma alone wins forever. Therefore, one should maintain honesty in his life, because it gives a sort of satisfaction, self-satisfaction in one's life. Without self-satisfaction, self-recognition, we should not have right to live on this earth without honesty. Therefore, all Shastras, Vedas, Itihasas, Ramayana, Mahabharatas, and also Upanishads, especially 10 Upanishads, also emphasize much on this policy. What is the policy? Honesty alone wins. Honesty is the best policy. These type of principles we have to adopt from the young age itself. Gradually it develops in our one's life. Basing on that, today I took the topic of honesty is the best policy. Before that prayer. Gurave sarvalokanam Bishage bhavaroginam Nidhaye sarvavidyanam Dakshinamurtaye namaha. Being untruthful always lands you in trouble. You have to remember every little lie you speak, every time you are being scrutinized, and remembering each and every lie, untruth, can never be easy. But at the same time, remembering truth is never a problem because you do not have to remember it. It always exists in your mind just the way it occurred. Maintaining a lie, on the other hand, could be worrisome. You never know what could be asked to you and how you would maintain the same answer every time. A dishonest person has to make special efforts to remember his deceits. On the other hand, an honesty person can always be free from all the worries. It always pays to be honest, though at times we are too tempted to lie. But still, how hard we try, truth can never be hidden. It always resurfaces even though you try hard to keep it under wraps. People will respect you for your honesty only. An honest friend is more trustworthy than a dishonest one. At the end of the day, if you are facing troubles and wish to speak to someone, given a choice, you would always turn to that honest friend you have. Though honest people are said to be a bit frank and sarcastic, their honesty is still respected and also trusted. Honesty brings peace, grace, and dignity to your life. And hence, it could be said that honesty is the best policy. It is fact and truth. Honesty is the best policy because honesty is always rewarded. If we want to succeed in life, the only way out is honesty. Any work done dishonestly never succeeds, and honest work never fails. Both are same. Whatever the situation, a person who does not live honesty always gets respect in his life. The saying by Benjamin Franklin is, honesty is one of the most famous of proverbs. The proverb is explained with examples and stories of an honest woodcutter and the water fairy. That means the river god story also we might have heard in our English. Students or everyone can prepare a speech on this topic by reading its meaning, explanation with real life examples and stories, etc. A person can earn money by cheating, deceit, fraud, but by doing so his conscience will never be satisfied. That is called self-satisfaction. An honest person gets respect in society. People appreciate such people even behind their back. Honesty means what? Not giving up the truth at any time, any situation in one's life. Today, people commit fraud and corruption to earn money or get their work done. Lying, cheating, doing corrupt work, it has become so common that we can see all this around us. In today's time, an honest person is like a rose among the bites. Just as a rose flower, in the midst of bites, attracts everyone's attention. Similarly, an honest person attracts the attention of the people in the society also. Therefore, we should maintain the honesty. Moreover, it presents good examples in society. Everyone respects such a people and obeys their words and follows them. Our father of nation Mahatma Gandhi is the greatest example of honesty. He freed India from the clutches of slavery on the strength of honesty and also the truth. This gives us the message that whatever the problem is, whatever the situation, if we do not live with honesty, then we can solve the biggest hurdles of the world, problems of the society. Therefore, we have to know importance of honesty in our life, because honesty is called the best policy, An honest person is not only mentally but also physically healthy. He stays away from all kinds of worries and troubles, also problems. Whenever our mind is calm and healthy, we remain free from diseases. Honest people get a proper place in society. People believe and respect them, such people. Everyone wants to keep a relationship with such people. Honesty is the removal of negative thoughts and thoughts from inside any person. Honest individuals, by their actions, set an example in a society and influence the people. An honest person's relationship is always stronger than others, whether in business or in the family. Honesty is a force whose path we will never achieve failure. An honest person is always fearless and also comfortable. But to be honest, that I do not mean to tolerate the miserable misbehavior or wrongdoing of people quietly. To be honest, it means that we stand with the truth and raise our voice for the truth to stop wrongdoings. There are 8 reasons honesty is always the best policy. Let us analyze what they are. First, honesty is the best policy. Why? Though our lives we have failed miserably, talking honestly about how often honesty always works, we were inspired to believe how lies leave off our legs smaller than the other. Gradually, second one, we go through all the ups and downs of life. We have lost the way to maintain our honesty and determination in any kind of injustice that often beats the nonsense out of us. Despite this, in the midst of all the misery and the hypocrisy of the world, we repeat the saying over and over again, honesty is the best policy. Another, in this land of Gandhigiri, where truthfulness is a criterion of an ideal person, we are still not able to give up our expectation from a dedicated, honest man. But deep down, we all know that we are also being dishonest in all of this. And the feeling of being disturbed by a misunderstanding is by no means very attractive. Number 2, benefits of honesty. Honesty will give you peace of mind, which is very much needed nowadays. Knowing that you should not remember every lie you have ever made is peaceful and therefore comforting. Because the truth has a power to set you free from all. And when you are truthful, you never have to worry about finding the truth. You don't have to save your face or figure out of how to cover your past lies with a dozen of others. Third, you will be exalted, which is true. With the peace and tranquility of life, you will probably feel happier with yourself. And being content with your own life is the happiest thing we can imagine. Fourth one, social connections get easier when we are honest. Your reputation as an honest person will keep you in a good position because people will trust you more. Fifth one, life becomes less complicated when you follow honesty as a good policy. How? No one will try to get you to certify things that are clearly not true because you are known as not that kind of person. Your social reputation prevents you from getting into difficult and unpromising situations or compromising situations. Sixth one, you can enjoy more perfect relationships with honest. Relationship also get easier when you have someone who has a natural tendency to be true to everything because faith is the basis of all the relationships, romantic or platonic. And when you are someone who is completely honest with emotional things and all, it often follows that you will be trustworthy. At the end of the day, people just want someone who is honest with them and who is better at giving you better fit. Seventh one, truth shapes your career too. Honesty is also the best policy in your professional commitments. You are likely to be assigned bigger tasks, those that have deadliness, and those that have important clients that will motivate you build a professional ladder. Although you have to worry about always having to endure deadlines and things, career success involves some compromises, honesty or not. Last, eighth one, truth leaves you stronger than ever. Honesty is a policy is also required when you think of being truthful as a value possible rather than a responsibility. And when you are a person who believes in values as strong as honesty, nothing stops you. So keep going and tell the truth as if it is the only worth thing. There are so many advantages, disadvantages of honesty is the best policy. Because we live in society. We are social animals, Sanghajivi. We have to deal with many people every day. People do not trust us if we do not treat other people appropriately. We should be honest in dealing with other people. An honest person is clear and ethical in conversation and behavior also. He does not lie. He does not try to deceive others. He never steals anything of others. He does not ignore his duty. Honesty is one of the greatest qualities of man. It has an important place in human life. This is a foundation of good character. Everybody loves and respects an honest person only. A dishonest person can progress in practical life, but in trouble he has to suffer. In fact, honesty is the best policy. Honesty should be fundamental principle of life. There are many benefits from this. An honest person does not cheat anyone. That's why everybody believes in him. He may be poor, but everyone has a feeling of love and respect for him specially. He enjoys happiness and mental peace. He walks the right path, never deviate in his righteous step. Therefore, he is not afraid of any person. He is always happy. Simplifies the way of life. Let us see the disadvantages. There are many evils in dishonesty. Everyone is hated by a dishonest person. He can progress for some time, but eventually has to suffer. He tries to hide his bad deeds. Therefore, he never enjoys happiness and mental peace. When we come to conclusion, honesty is the best policy, but the life of an honest person is not equally happy. An honest person can be faced with great difficulties in his life. Moreover, he cannot progress like dishonest people. People can laugh at him, but he should not be disappointed in difficulties. At the end, he will definitely benefit from honesty. A king announced two conditions. Let us see what is it. Once there lived a woodcutter. After his reign, a long time has passed. The woodcutter's son was now young. The boy started working with his father, a woodcutter. One day in the village of the woodcutter, it was announced that the king would marry his daughter to a boy who would fulfill her two conditions. He will give him a palace and all the facilities. The woodcutter's son found out about this and talked to his father. He will fulfill the king's conditions and become a prince. The woodcutter allowed his son to enter the palace and said, "Fulfill the king's terms and conditions with honesty and wisdom. Do not be discouraged and believe in yourself. You can adopt self-honesty, self-confidence, self-reliance." The next day, when the boy reached the palace, he saw that other princes had come to fulfill the king's two conditions. The woodcutter's son put on plain clothes and the prince laughed at him. The woodcutter's son panicked and thought he would return home. Then he remembered his father's words. The king came to the court and sat on his throne. All the kings stood up and welcomed him. The king asked his general to explain the conditions. The commander announced that king had two conditions. First, the king will give everyone a gold coin. They will sell this coin and bring something to fill this hall of the palace. The second condition is that everyone will be given seeds. These seeds have to be sown in a pot at home, and after 6 months, in which the seedling plant will have blue flowers. The plant will have to be brought to the royal court along with the pot. Don't seek anyone's help. If anyone violates the condition, he will be severely punished. Thus announced by the commander-in-chief. According to the king's command, everyone was given a gold coin and a seed. Everyone went their homes. The woodcutter's son came home and told whole story to his father. He first took a pot and filled with good soil and sowed the seeds. Then he began to think about what could be bought with a gold coin to fill the royal court. The wife of the woodcutter was burning incense while worshipping. The whole house filled with the fragrance of which. The woodcutter's son decided to sell a gold coin and buy incense. After 2 or 3 months, no plants grew in the pot, which upset the woodcutter's son and wife. Time passed slowly, but no plant grew in the pot. Woodcutter's son completed king's conditions. Finally, 6 months later, it was time to go to the king's palace. The woodcutter's son is disappointed that he reached the king's palace with a bundle of incense and pot full of dust. He noticed that other princes had beautiful blue flowers in pots. The princes also bring so much stuff that they can fill the king's court. Seeing this, The woodcutter's son became frightened, but he did not give up what his father said, the courage. All the princes first began to fill the king's court with their belongings as per the condition. But the court was not full. See that the king is disappointed. Later they showed the king the blue flowering plant with their pots. When it was the woodcutter's son's turn, he first smoked incense from the incense burner, the fragrance of which filled the entire palace. Now the king was very, very happy. But when he presented to the king a pot full of soil without a plant, the king first expressed his displeasure and asked the woodcutter's son why his pot was empty. The woodcutter's son honestly gave and said he had sown the seed in the pot. He watered for 6 months, but the plant did not grow and brought the earthen pot with him. That seed is still there. The whole court was astonished. To hear this, all the people in the court began to think that no one had ever given such an answer to the king. The king smiled and announced that he would adopt the woodcutter's son as his daughter's groom. The king then sat down on his throne. The king said that the other princes had brought so much that the price of a gold coin. The plans they bring are actually a hoax. Hearing the king's reply, all the princes began to leave slowly. All the people present in the court were astonished to hear this. The king said that other princes have done all this with their own money. But this woodcutter's son has set an example of wisdom and honesty. The boys have fulfilled both conditions. How? First, the incense was burned and the whole court glowed. The second is that the seeds that were sown can never germinate because all those seeds were roasted. The king happily married his daughter to a woodcutter's son and gave her a palace and made her a prince. The woodcutter's son became a prince. The woodcutter's son got happy according to the fate's gift. Finally, the woodcutter returned to his village with his princess as his wife and son. He told his villagers the entire story of the silver and the gold axes. Hearing to this, all the villagers came to believe in woodcutter again. She had said that her son, who became rich, would definitely return to the village. The woodcutter thus set an example of honesty and explained to these villagers and his son the true meaning of the teaching of honest living in the society. What is the moral of this story is honesty is the best policy. Therefore, we have to learn some moral from this story. Always be honest and work with honest. One honesty will bring prosperity in one's life and never tell a lie at any cost. We can get everything with honesty in our life. Conclusion of honesty is best policy story is we should maintain this forever in our lifetime. Honesty is the best policy, meaning honesty is the best policy that never speaks lying and always is honest with your work and do everything being honesty in life. Never cheat anyone or get anything by using shortcuts. We can get anything in life much more than we deserve honesty. Everyone must adopt this type of honesty is the best policy. ओम श्री कांताय कल्याण निधे निधेनाम श्री वेंकट निवासाय श्रीनिवासाय मंगलम मंगलाशासन प्रेमदाचार्य पुरोगमैः सर्वैश्च पूर्वैराचार्यै सत्कृतायास्तु मंगलम्.